A blue wave could knock 5% off the markets, says a Wall Street analyst. Oh no, oh no. Everybody lock your doors and lock your daughters and protect your daughters. Here's from Business Insider. A Wall Street chief strategist says a Biden blue wave could spur a 5% drop in the S&P 500 because of uncertainty of some Democratic policies. It's just... the S&P 500 could fall 5% with a decisive victory by Sniffy Joe, in which the Democrats win the election, control both chambers of Congress. TikTokers, Steven somebody, TikTokers? Is that like TikTok? The S&P 500 is fine now, but Biden wins, there'll be a sell-off. If Trump wins, you'll see the Dow easily climb to new highs. I see decline of 5% or more. He says uncertainty will lead to, including their climate policies and raising corporate taxes, creating uncertainty for markets. All right. The S&P and Dow could lose 5%. We already talked about that. I don't think the Democrats are being forthright with the policies they are prescribing with the Green New Deal, Supreme Court, new tax policy. Democratic opponent Sniffy Joe has long advocated raising corporate taxes from 21 to 20%. How could you long advocate that when we just got them down that low? That doesn't make any sense. You can't long advocate when was Trump that rate then lower those taxes from 35. Democrats have also expressed support for policies that are aimed at combating climate change. They're going to combat climate change. How? No, they're not. If my memory serves, I think they're still flying all over the place, are they not? So they're not going to combat climate change with their actions, but they're going to tell you how to do it. The S&P has risen 60% since touching mid-year lows in March, mainly helped by a boom in technology stocks and low interest rates. Low interest rates, come on, they've been low forever, man. But the index has lost some ground since hitting a record high as Democrats and Republicans struggle to reach an agreement on more government support of the economy. Because if it wasn't for the government, we'd have no economy, right? See, this is why this is why the libertarians are never going to win. Because the facts are, once you have affluenza, i.e. the government is in charge of everything, and because you're sitting there thinking we have to get rid of any kind of risk that we have, the government's got to take us, because the government leads us down the path and then they try to fix us. This is what the government creates the problem, then they try to fix it, which of course further creates the problem. And there's Trump too, man. I mean, it's Republican and Democratic governor. They create the problem. And then those same governments say, I got to fix the problem I created. And unfortunately, most people say, you need to do something. I mean, no one's going to vote for a politician who says, I'm not going to do anything. No one's going to vote. I would. I'd absolutely. I said, man, if there's a politician that I'm not going to, there will be no more laws. I will pass no more laws. That doesn't mean we go to anarchy. That just means we're going to keep the laws we have on the books. No more laws. I don't care what it is. We're not going to get rid of anything. We're not going to keep anything. We're not going to add anything. We're just going to keep the laws that we have. We have more than enough laws to keep us safe. We have more than enough laws, man. We don't need any more. I'd vote for it could be a Democrat, it could be Tulsi Gabbard. I don't care. Hell, it could be Bernie. He says no more laws, but they won't because the Democrats are for control. Yes, we know that for a fact. And Republicans are for a little bit less control than the Democrats. That's how it works. But libertarians, you need a third party. You're never going to get a third party, man. It's not going to happen. The third party, if anything, it just if you look at the European states with the massive third parties, it's just a cluster. The problem is it's not a cluster where nothing gets done. I like inaction. I like gridlock. Gridlock's a good thing. Nothing gets done is a good thing. The problem is everything gets done, but it gears towards the left because government has one mission, which is to expand government control. And as such, you go into government, be it through politicians or bureaucracy, in order to expand government. It's just the nature of the beast, man. All right, let's keep reading what this guy says. But Biden's lead over Trump in the polls has caused a number of Wall Street biggest banks to increasingly expect a blue wave. Credit Suisse, whatever, told the CNBC this month the Biden win could spur a knee-jerk reaction from the 5% pullback. All right, well, we had that too, by the way. Let's see, I saw something about Tesla will gain another 14% as the company closes in on 500,000 annual deliveries, says Webb Bush, okay? The 5% sell-off is, I mean, that's what happened after Trump won. I mean, you can look at Paul Krugman. I don't know if we can find his tweets. Hold on a second. Nobel Prize in economics, Paul Krugman, who predicted a global recession under Trump, who admitted the economy is strong. Look at that, right on February 7th, 2020. It's almost as if there's some kind of global pandemic in which to make the economy not so strong. All right, so he says, right after Trump was elected, the New York Times asked his opinion writers to weigh in, and Krugman says, if the question is when the markets will recover, a first pass answer is never. And of course, since then, the market has gone up significantly. I mean, you've made a lot of money in the market for sure. Krugman also wrote that we're probably looking at a global recession with no end in sight. In reality, the U.S. has the strongest job market in half a century. I mean, just think about where we were in February 2020. Man, I tell you, man, you can't. I'm not one to say conspiracies don't work because that means everyone has to get involved. And that's not a conspiracy in terms of like a global conspiracy. But you cannot tell me that it wasn't the dominoes falling that people said, they can do it. The government bureaucrats, I can do it. And if all I have to say is that if I don't do this, people will die. And as such, give me power so people don't die. And then one guy did it, another guy did it, another guy did it. And then the media, of course, said, look, we're not going to get Trump on the economy, so we got to get him on something else. Now, the interesting thing is, if you go back and look at the polls of even back then, Trump was still losing, even pre-pandemic. In fact, let's look at that real quick. The NBC News poll had Biden up by 6. I mean, Warren beaten by Trump. Sanders beating Trump in the NBC News poll. IBD had Trump up by 1. They also had Sanders, Trump, or Biden up by 1. Trump beating Sanders. Trump, Bloomberg beating him. We had Biden up by 9 in the LA Times poll. I mean, this is back in January 30th. We had Sanders beating Trump by 7. Only person Trump was beating was Buttigieg. Even Klobuchar, or whatever name is. Biden up by 4, Washington Post. Sanders up. I mean, so Trump has been behind. Only person he's beaten was Buttigieg. Look at that. Biden up by 9 in Fox News poll. So it's not like all of a sudden out of nowhere the pandemic has made the polls anti-Trump. I mean, we had, let's see, January in Iowa. So we had Trump up in Iowa. I don't think Iowa's even that contested. But anyway, so you can see what I'm talking about. I mean, they had Biden was up by 9. Biden was up by, there's CNN. I mean, Biden, then we had right here in Texas, okay. Biden up by 4 in Wisconsin. So, I mean, the polls have been anti-Trump, for the whole year. I mean, before they even knew Biden was going to be the nominee, but it's been anti-Trump. And a lot of people say with the general, like a Democrat versus a specific guy, it'll be more inclined to be anti-Trump. When they use Biden specifically, it was Biden versus Trump, even that back then Biden was one. So it's not like the pandemic has all of a sudden made it anti-Trump. It's been anti-Trump since basically he's been real, since he was elected. There's no other way around that. So the idea that just suddenly we're going to have this massive wave against Trump, and the reason was because 2018. I mean, it just happened to, but I remember 2004 when the Republicans mopped the floor with the Democrats, and Peter Jennings says the country had a temper tantrum. And everyone thought Clinton's days were gone. And then they nominated Bob Dole. Now, Clinton was winning all the polls, I grant you. And Trump is not winning all the polls now. And so we kind of knew that Clinton was going to win. Bob Dole was just he just got, it was kind of like John McCain. He is kind of like Joe Biden. They got it because he's the last man standing. But at the end of the day, we knew pretty well that Clinton was going to win. So it's different now. But, still, at the end of the day, Biden has been up in the polls literally since forever, essentially. So I'm not all that worried about it because either the polls are right or the wrong. One of those two things is a coin toss. But a 5% drop, I mean, that's that's big fat nothing burger. 5% drop, wow, happens all the time. All right, we'll see you.